All right. Hello, and good evening, everyone. This is Tomorrow, and this is the Tomorrow Show. Today, first of all, let me say, make sure you guys, please download my podcast, um, which you can do if you have Android, if you have an iPhone. You can download it from the Google App Store or the Play Store. So please do that. Please do that. Like and follow. So important, so important. So that way you get all my notifications as soon as I publish something new. You all will receive that. But thank you all for joining me on Spreaker Podcast Radio. And today I have a special guest with me. And also, I'm live on YouTube. So for those who are listening on my podcast, I am live on YouTube. So if you want to go there and catch me live while I interview this amazing person, um, please do so. Today, without further ado, I have Mr. Frank King here.
Hello.
Welcome, Frank.
How are you?
Thank you for joining me today.
Oh yeah, it's great to be here.
It's great that you came. I'm glad that I could get an interview with you. We spoke a little bit about your great, I don't know if I should say invention or not. I don't know if that's the appropriate word.
That'll work.
Is that a good word to use? Invention. And Frank was telling me about this wonderful thing business that he started called Insync Technologies, which is a wonderful, awesome, amazing thing. As he was explaining it, of course, it went a little bit above my head, you guys, because that is so I don't know if you call it solar power, but the energy, it's amazing. I couldn't even explain it. But before we get to that, I would like my listeners to kind of get an idea of who Frank is. I usually ask for a little bit of a testimony, kind of like, where are you from?
I was hoping that question was rhetorical, so but I am from.
No. You're gonna get all. I'm gonna be all kinds of nosy. All kinds of nosy.
I see.
So where are you from, Frank?
Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia. Is that where you grew up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mom, dad, sisters, brothers?
Mom, dad, three sisters, two brothers.
Three sisters, two brothers. So you grew up with a big family then?
Yeah.
Okay. So what did mom and dad do?
Dad's an engineer. Mom.
Oh, dad's an engineer.
Yeah, mom's
Awesome.
stay-at-home mom, but she's finishing her degree in business now. So,
Oh, okay.
So the whole business slash the science and business coming together. I guess I got those two.
Oh, okay.
Downloaded at me, so.
Okay. Is that okay? So you went to school. Obviously, you grew up there your entire life in Savannah, Georgia.
Correct. Until I left to go to the military.
Oh, okay. And what service did you join?
I was in the Navy.
So you joined the Navy. How many years?
5.
5 years. So how was school? How was growing up for you? Were you the middle child, first
Yes.
of all?
Yes, I was a middle child.
How was that being the middle child?
The peacemaker. Always trying to make
Were
sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You were the
My sisters and brothers, if once they hear this, they probably would disagree, but they would say I was like the one who always like conspired all types of. That's not true. I was always the one who tried to, make sure there was peace, and I got blamed for a lot of stuff.
Okay. So did you get hit since you were in the middle? Did they when they were swinging? Did you get knocked in the head?
No, because I was the biggest, so they knew that there would be consequences if I got hit.
Biggest is in fattest or tallest?
Tallest and biggest, because the top two was girls. So me, I'm the first.
So
boy.
you're the old. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the oldest boy. Okay.
Right.
So how many years apart are you guys?
There's about. So it's what is this? This is 70. Oh, I'm sorry. This is 2018.
Wait, did you say 70?
Well, I was thinking because my sister was born in 79, so I was trying to do the math.
Wait a minute, Frank taking us way back, y'all. Wait a
So
minute.
she would be
Bell
39.
bottoms and butterfly collars. Wait a minute.
I think she would be 39 this year. And
Okay.
I'm 33,
Uh-huh.
and the sister, so it's 39. I believe I think she was. Candace was born in. I think she was born.
Oh,
it's a bunch. It's a bunch
don't
of us.
know. Oh,
I'm losing my hair for a reason. I'm trying to remember and know all that stuff. It's almost like 3 years apart. So I think it's like 30, becoming 39, then 36, then 33. Then my sister under me is 32. My little brother is 29, and then you have.
Okay,
18.
he's doing good. He's doing good.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And so these are all
he
approximations.
Said somewhere around there.
These are all approximations.
They gonna get you after this. They gonna say, you know, I wasn't 39. Yeah. Or don't be telling my age.
I tell them I'm in science for a reason. We can get away with approximations. So.
Okay, so not all of you went to the same school, like elementary.
No, it was so broken because like my oldest sister, she was in the 5th when I was in kindergarten, I think. So it was my oldest 2 sisters and me in elementary, and then when I went to 2nd grade, my youngest one came to 1st grade. I think.
Oh wow!
Okay. Yeah, I don't even remember. Is it like kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, or is it? It's been so long ago. Like.
Frank, it is kindergarten first.
Oh, okay. So if I was in kindergarten, I went to 1st.
She wasn't in school yet. Wait a minute. Was she older?
She was in 5th. My oldest one.
So when you were in kindergarten,
right?
She was in 5th grade.
Yeah, and then my other one was.
Okay, so you guys were in the same school for a minute.
Right, for
like that 1 year.
Right, for that 1 year.
And then
when she went to the next.
But there was always a sibling in your school because it was how many of you?
6.
It was 6 of you. So you always had a sister or brother in school with you, right? Any fights?
Amongst or outside?
Amongst you.
Very small fights, but like I said, I used to keep to myself. I'm a pretty.
Are you a quiet, reserved? Were you quiet and reserved as a teenager?
I wouldn't say that. I was. I mean.
Okay, so if your brother, could you, how many brothers you have?
2.
You have 2 brothers. So if they could say one word about you, what would it be? Teenage you.
Crazy.
Both of them would say the same word?
Well, the youngest one he's only 18 now. He didn't see me when I was a teenager.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
What would he say about you now?
Laid back. Real laid back.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the older one?
Probably
who knew
crazy.
You as a teenager?
Yeah, he'll probably say crazy. I think most of them in my teenage years would say I was crazy. Even my parents even said it. So, yeah.
Was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Lived on the edge.
Frank, we might need to hear a crazy story. We might need to hear one. Frank, you got to give us one. Don't you think he should give us one, you guys? I think Frank should give us at least one good juicy story. Because we're trying to get a sense of who Frank is and what led you to this awesome business that you are in now. So before we get to that, we need to know who Frank is. Who was Frank before? Who was that team? Why did they call you crazy? Because now you didn't brought it up. We need to know.
I was very strategic, and I was very, well, I would say one of the craziest things, my sister always brings this up. My dad one time, and if he hears it, he's probably going to, get on me. But one time he was just, he was just getting on us about all type of stuff. And, I was like, man, I'm sick of all this craziness. So I got one of my mom's little stick pins that she does needle and thread with, and I put it on the cordless phone base and shorted out those 2 pins, and it turned the phone off when he was on there, and he never knew anything. The bad thing is that he was on the phone with customer service for about an hour. Oh no! And then so he was just going on making us up like.
Wait, how did you do that?
I just got like a little piece of metal and I put it on the positive and negative, and the phone shut off because it thought that it was, granted it could have caused a fire or blew it up. But I shorted it out, and so he lost the signal, and he had to call him back again. And then we ran back in the room and just started laughing. So.
And how old were you when that happened?
I don't remember. Probably, I could have been 13. I was pretty young.
Wow, and you did that at 13.
Yeah.
And was he like, what just happened?
Yeah, he didn't know. He just thought the phone died because back then those cordless phones, they used to die a lot. But granted, they used to beep before they died, but it didn't beep because it beeped when I put it on there. But so he really didn't know.
How did you know how to do that?
Just honestly, it's just I don't.
Was it school?
No, it's just that when you when you think about, I'm a very extremely analytical person, and so when I think about certain things and I see what happens, so say for something happens in front of me, why is this happening? And then I investigate why is this doing this. And
Okay,
that,
so
yeah.
were you the type of kid that would want to, like take stuff apart and put it back together as a kid? Like, were you that type of kid to like see how it works? So you want to take it apart to see how it works and then put it back together?
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So what kind of things did you take apart as a kid that you know?
I mean, it was a lot
like
of household
when you
things.
realized that you like that sort of thing.
It was a lot of broken stuff because my parents wouldn't let me they wouldn't let me take apart the TV or the house or a car or the stove. So I'm like, I was just.
When I was gonna say, did you take apart your TV and put that back together and try to put that back, or a radio? Like you had back in the day, like
they
the
did.
boom boxes.
I did do that. I did do that.
Oh, you did?
I mean, I didn't put it back together.
Oh, you did?
No,
but you took it apart and couldn't put it back together.
I think I probably got in trouble for doing it, so I didn't put it back together or something. It was something crazy, but there was an extreme reason why I didn't put it back together. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So what other stuff did you?
One of the greatest things I think I did back then was that
Hello, Kay. How are you?
I put a 12-inch wireless remote control ceiling fan in my car, and. How are you?
Frank said hi.
So I was one of the guys, brilliant engineer around the neighborhood. He was just brilliant. And I said, hey man, I want to put a wireless ceiling fan in my car. He said, so he gave me some equations. I wasn't in school then. He said, if this becomes greater than this value here, I'll do the work for you. And I went home, did the math, came back, I said, hey, it'll work. He said, okay. I took the roof down, put the ceiling fan up there. He soldered it on there, and sure enough, I had a wireless remote control ceiling fan in my car. And people said, why would you do that? Because it's cheaper to use electricity in that case than gas. I mean, so when I'm turning on my AC, my gas mileage goes down, but I can use it to use electricity.
You did not put a ceiling fan in your car.
Yeah.
Frank, did you really do that?
Yeah, it was one of those.
How old were you when you did that? Because a ceiling fan and the car, I can't even wrap my mind around that. Like, was it like a miniature one?
Yeah, it was a miniature one. It was not no.
It wasn't like the one I have blowing over there.
No. It was like, those stand-up fans that has those plastic blades and stuff. Yeah, it was one of those that I put in the roof. Yeah, so and I tell you, it'll cool that place down. Like it will cool that car.
So instead of turning on the air conditioning, you have the ceiling fan.
Yeah, and what I'll do, I'll turn the AC on for a little bit, and then I'll put the fan on so it'll circulate the environment. They just circulate it, and it actually. Now I put kitchen towels on the floor because I noticed that the air across the rug was not as. The rug was somewhat of an impediment for the air to flow, so I put kitchen towels on the floor, and sure enough, the sound quality went up as well. But you can see the air flow under that chair, and you can feel that thing. I mean, it really changed, like how the environment of that car, and so it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Now, how old were you, Frank?
I think I was 19 when I did that. Probably 19 or 20. It wasn't anything over 20, so it could have been 19.
So the wiring that it took. I mean, I'm wondering, how did you know how the wiring, and how did you know how to do that at 19?
Again, I'm very good at seeing things around me and understanding why they work once I examine it. So I just knew that this color goes here, this does this wire comes from the wall. So all I needed was, like, have you ever seen those power inverters that you plug into the cigarette lighter? So that was almost equivalent to a wall. So I knew if I plug it into that, I should get a fan to turn on. So I just broke it all apart.
A ceiling fan in your car. Yeah. That is just crazy.
Yeah, my mom still did not like that. You tore that darn car up. Oh my God,
wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
Wow. What is another awesome thing that you did?
I think that was probably the greatest one. Just
that was the greatest one.
Yeah, because it was just. I think that was the greatest.
That was phenomenal. I can't even believe you actually did that. That was, wow.
And everybody who got in there and saw that fan and saw it in motion and that AC put on together,
What did they say?
They said it was cold. I mean, literally, it could be because Savannah's hot and humid.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm telling you, you got inside that car with that fan on and that AC blowing, and you can turn the AC on off, and the ceiling fan will still be circulating the amp.
Now, how long did you keep this car? I mean,
Not
did you
long.
keep it? Oh, not long.
No.
What?
Yeah.
After you tore that car up
I mean, it
to
wasn't
put the fan in
completely torn up. I mean, it was. She just didn't.
So when your mom says you tore that car up,
she's extreme
what
and she's extra.
about the car did you tear up because you put that fan in there? So
She just didn't
I
like
mean-
that it wasn't original. And my mom's very extra, and she's like, I mean, you can say like, I mean, she's just very, she's not dramatic, but she's extra. And so you can be like, you do something, and she just blows it all up out of proportion. Like, you did that. I'm like, no, it's not true. It's still here. Well, hey, man, it's not in the same position where it was at in the beginning. I'm like, man, you're so extreme. She is so extreme. So
that is amazing though. At 19. Okay. So you got good grades in school and
no, I had the worst grades. I even had worse grades in college. I'm not a school guy.
School?
Huh?
Did you ditch school?
You said that I
Skip school?
I did sometimes, but school was just boring to me. It's just you're
Oh,
going.
why so? Why so? Can we put those words together? Why so? How come? Why so? I don't know.
Why did I do it?
Yeah.
It was just because I'm sitting in a class. I mean, usually you're in school, 7 hours a day, 6 hours a day. Then you want me to go home and study for an hour or two, and then life and everything else. I'm like, that leaves me no time to dream. So something has to give, so.
I like that. That leaves me no time to dream.
And I have to put at least an hour or two in dreaming every day. If I don't do that, I'm gonna be an angry man. Like, serious. Like, you will not want to be around me if I don't dream for about an hour or two a day. You will not want to be around me. I could be it'd be like a person who's hungry, or you woke them
So
up.
you're saying school, that was taking up a lot of time,
Absolutely.
and you needed that. So sometimes you just couldn't go because.
Well, it's not that I couldn't go. I just didn't. I lost interest in it because, like I said, I mean, you're teaching me something I could read a book and understand, and so, and I'm not minimizing that because I mean, everybody can't do that. So I'm not, so I'm not minimizing that or just trying to make myself sound amazing because I mean, there are things that I did struggle in, but it's just.
What things did you struggle in, Frank?
Which class? Signals and systems. Anybody who's ever went through engineering would know I hated that silly class. It was just so abstract, and so, it was just very abstract, and so. But that class I struggled in. I mean, that was actually one of my lowest grades, so like a C minus, C plus, something. It was a low grade.
What grade and what class? What was that high school?
Oh no, this was
college.
Talking
about college.
Yeah,
right?
but like I said, my grades have been very borderline throughout my whole life, just because it never. Part of it. Well, it's many reasons for that. One, there was also a fear of failure.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and put that. So and
well, let's put it there. Let's put it. It's on the table.
Right.
There it is.
So there was an element of a fear of failure, but there's also that whole.
Well, you say element of fear of failure, but the grades were borderline.
Right. Because it's the whole. If I try and discipline myself to do my best and I get a B or a C, what I mean? It's just that whole the expectation component. Does that make sense? Like how like you invest something and you expect something, and then there's disappointment because it doesn't surpass that. So it's like, okay, there was just that component there too, and but it's just there was also a lack of discipline.
Okay.
I mean, so it's that element of fear of failure. Then there was a lack of discipline. And now you put those two together, you got a student like me. So I mean,
and what do we call that?
A student who did enough to get by.
That was a combo platter.
It was, and it was enough to a student that did enough to get by.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so you did just enough.
And even I'm spoken to like I speak to people about some of the things that they did. And
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that, well, one of the guys I just recently spoke to, he was similar. He said, man, Frank, it was somewhat of fear of failure. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like, when you have people who are somewhat in that same, that doing some of the same behaviors like that, some of it could be, the person who does the borderline and just enough to get by. It could be it could be a poor work ethic. I mean, you can almost throw that in there, a poor work ethic. Just enough to get by, so I get paid to do what I got. You know what I'm saying? Is
Right.
that element there, or fear of
Mm-hmm.
failure, or
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just different. I mean, so I'm not saying that it can all be narrowed down to two or three things, but in my situation, it was the fear of failure, that whole it was the fear of failure, and because it was not a work ethic. I always had a strong work ethic, so it was definitely
Mm-hmm.
most likely the fear of failure. And someone could say, well, if you didn't do well in school and put the work into school, how can you have a good work ethic? I mean, work ethic is not, is different. It's not always just because a person excels at one thing, that can be a natural gifting or talent, doesn't mean that they have a good work ethic. Because
That's true.
you know what I mean. So let's look at it. I mean,
That's
if
true.
me putting together a wireless power system, because that's a gifting and talent that I have, it's easy for me just to conceive something. Well, I think about something and put it. Oh, I'll put this together and it'll make this. Compared to a person who has
Does that work for you often?
Yeah.
You think about it and then you can just put it together?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm a very principle guy. I understand principles.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone tells me if you throw something up, it has to come back down,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what I throw up, it has to come back down.
Mm-hmm.
So from that, I'll know how to develop, plan, and design accordingly. So when someone says wireless power and does this, or something does this, and it will not, this cannot affect it, or this will not do this, I already know that it. So even if I'm not the best developer, I know that it can't do this. So even if I didn't put my blood, sweat, and tears into it, and someone said, okay, when you throw it up, it must come down, I don't have to put that much effort. I already know a principle. If I throw it up, no effort really besides throwing it up. I don't have to catch it. I know it's coming back down.
You know it's going to come
Yeah,
down.
so it's like I know I work off principles.
Okay.
So I don't have to study, even if you look at a lot of books I read.
So you've been this way. Because it seems like you've been this kind of
Right.
analytical, driven man your entire life.
Right, and I think the biggest thing that was always a hindrance to it, it was always people who want you to conform.
To what?
Conform to, whether it be an identity they want you to conform to, or you will be this, or you're not this, or you can't be this. So I always label
What
as
did
rebellion.
they want you to conform to, Frank?
Someone who did what they want me to do. Like, for example, my parents, like, I used to put like plaid stuff on my shoes, and I was always a different person. I mean, just because it was different. I was creative.
Wait a minute, wait. Let's back this story up. Hold on. You said plaid. Now, I need to have a visual of when you say plaid, because you can't bring things up like that on the show and not explain that. Oh, now, you saying you put plaid on your shoes. Now, how did you use a sticky? Did you use hot glue?
Like hot glue and glue.
So, did you cut it out of a shirt?
I cut it out of fabric because remember I was telling you the stick pin the little pin I put on that cordless charger. My mom used to have like fabrics and stuff. And so she had different fabrics. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, this looks pretty cool.
So you cut out the plaid fabric.
Right.
Now, what kind of did you put them on? Adidas, K-Swiss? What kind of shoes did
I
you
think
put
with
them
some
on?
like white Air Maxes or something I had. I put them on there.
Air
So it was
Maxes were
just
nice shoes.
so it's just
those
put-
is classic Air Maxes.
so you got white with plaid on it. I mean, it pops. Like so. I mean, it was
Now,
different.
did you put it on the top where the toes
Just on the
are,
check.
or did you put them on the sides?
Just on the. I think I just put it on a check or something like the Nike check. So it was just different. I mean, my thing is like my logic is like, okay, but people are paying top dollar for a Nike to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I just use glue and a fabric and put it on here?
Now, did you do this in college or high school?
High school.
Now, what did when you went to school with that plaid on the sides of your shoes, what was the response that you got from the other students? And your friends. Oh, let's talk about before you left the house. Your brothers and sisters. What did they think about that?
I was so discreet with everything that I did. Like
They didn't
everything.
see your shoes?
No, most people. My parents will always tell you, you will never most people would never figure out what I did unless I want you to catch me. and you know, because I was just very strategic and very analytical compared to like other people in my family. They get caught in what they do. Like, so still to this day, they didn't know I did what I did.
Learn from their mistakes on what not to do.
Well, it's just because I'm just, to me, again, I'm very strategic, and some people who are just like, you know, my brother, he's always just doing stuff, and like I said, he get caught. To me, I'm like, no, I'm not getting caught. You won't know, and I'll know the right timing to do it. So, I mean, I was just very strategic with everything that I did, everything that I've done. And so, like I said, my parents were very, like I said, even the whole cordless phone thing, like nobody would even thought to know somebody in the house put that on there to do that. So it was so far out the things that I've done, that I did, that even if you caught me playing around a cordless phone, you would probably think that I was doing something with the wire or something. Like because it was so far out everything that I did. You don't associate that with the typical behavior of somebody who's up to mischief. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does. But I still need to go back to them shoes with the plaid on them.
Okay.
Because in my mind, I'm still thinking about those shoes. I need to have a resolve to that first.
Okay.
Now, you stepped out the house and you went to school with the plaid on the shoes. I know people saw the shoes.
Right.
I know you remember what the response was. Now, are you going to share it with us?
Well, and here's the thing. I've always been different, so everybody respects what I've done, even if they don't like it.
Because you're analytical, I know that pattern probably looked really nice.
Oh yeah, it was very nice.
I know it wasn't like a 5th grade, you know, you went out of the lines or it was, you know, crooked and, you know. No. So I know the pattern was nice. Right. What kind of response did you get with those shoes?
I mean, everybody respected it. It was more like, man, that's clean, or that's flour, that's nice.
Really?
Or, yeah, I mean, because like I said, it's all about what I put with it, you know. And so, but
okay, so you had a plaid shirt to match the.
No, it was. I had like solid colors because the fabric was like a burgundy with some type of check or something. I mean, it was just like, it was a plaid-ish color, but like I said, I had some shirt or something that matched it, so it looked very like, where'd you get them from? Because I mean that's cut.
So they wouldn't even known that you actually did that.
Right.
Because they looked like you bought them from the store.
Right.
Wow.
But again, my parents, they never liked me doing things that were outside of the norm.
What did your parents say about those shoes? What did your mom say?
Well, I mean, after she found out it was her fabric, she didn't like it. But, but beyond that, it's just the whole fact
that... She said, why don't we use my fabric?
I'm like, it's been sitting in your closet for the last 5 years. Clearly, you didn't use it. So, like...
So you used the fabric. Had you ever done anything else like that? Did you do more shoes?
No, I think I did... pants. I started doing like pants and stuff, like just weird stuff. I mean, so I'll get colorful socks and I'll cut them out and put words and stuff on pants, and like
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was just, again, it was me always trying to do something different.
Okay.
And so when I did it, I actually did it one time and I brought it out with like a throwback jersey or something at night, and we went to this like gathering or whatever, and they were like, man, dude, that is so, like, where'd you get those from? I'm like, no, I did this myself. So, I mean, people always admired it because it was so different.
Wow.
Yeah.
And clearly you always liked being different.
Yeah. I don't like norm. I don't like things that are...
Oh, you can't hear us on Spreaker? Oh, okay. So maybe my volume is not up high enough. Okay, so I hope everybody can hear me. Kay from the UK says that she could not hear me on Spreaker, so I hope everyone else can hear me. So I apologize if you guys did not hear me. We are live again. We are live with Frank King, who is, before we get into his talking about his business, which is NSYNC Technologies. We are live, and we were just talking about he's giving us a little testimony about who he is, and we were actually talking to him about his shoes and how he cut out the plaid. I'm just going to recap a little bit because the volume might have been low and you guys might not have heard what we were discussing, but we were discussing his shoes, how he cut out the pattern and hot glued it to the sides of his shoes and went to school like that. with his shoes, but they weren't like, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, he's got this, they're all, the lines are going to be squiggly and, kind of funny, thinking about it that he actually did that, but it was kind of a smart thing to do, So that is really what we're talking about. We hadn't really got into what Frank does and what led him to this. So we kind of, I like to, as everyone knows who listens to my podcast and who is listening and joining us, thank you so much. Again, we're sitting here talking to Frank King. So, Frank, hi.
Hello. Hello again.
Hello again. So, now we were talking about, you said that you, and actually he was saying that he actually did pants that he had cut out patterns to, letters, and you used hot glue.
Yeah, I think I used hot glue or
and had those and created his own style. So really, you created, you could have had a whole line,
correct,
your own clothing line, really,
correct.
Because I mean, you're just creative like that. You could have had your own clothing line. So after you did this, did other people start mimicking you? Other kids, start mimicking you and try to, kind of, how the kids do, Ooh,
right,
I want that. Oh, I'm gonna try to do that with mine. Do you remember kids trying to do that with you in the neighborhood?
Right.
Yeah. Because, that's what we do.
Right,
that's what we do as kids. We, you got this style and we want to mimic you and do that. So at what point, what did you do in the Navy? Because when did you join, actually?
2012, I believe. March of 2012.
So you had went to elementary, middle school, high school, and actually Frank was talking about, which was really funny. Let me go back when he was talking about school, and I thought was really funny is that he said that I asked him if he ditched it, did he cut any classes? And he said, well, yeah, I did. And he said he needed to have time to dream. Is that what you said?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And school bored you a little bit. You did enough to get by, but some classes you did cut out on. But you were saying that we spend so much time in school, and the time you spend 7 hours in school, and you got to come home, you got to do chores, you got to do all this, that, there, and you said you needed to have time to dream. I thought that was a really interesting answer.
Because you can see that everybody has the ability to be creative. Like, everybody has that ability. It's downloaded in us. Like, we all have that ability. Some people choose to create businesses. Some people create drama. So it's like, come on now. We all have
go to one extreme or the other. Either you go create a business or you go create drama.
Right, but we all have that ability to be creative. And so the problem where there's no production is because people aren't taking the time to really invest or really explore themselves. Because creativity is from something inside. It could be inspired by something external, but that's something that has to be birthed internally. Mm-hmm. So it's just, again, it takes a lot of self-discovery or self-exploration. You have to begin to dive sometimes within yourself and understand what's inside of you before you try to me, I'd rather understand what's inside of me than understand the things that are outside of me. Because to me, I believe the greater influence of everything that I do, or what I go into, or what I create, or what I produce, or even what I can extend to somebody else is an extension of what's inside of me. So when these environments change, you can be consistent. People who constantly change with environments, come on now, it ain't rocket science.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're constantly changing with all these environments, clearly there's more investments external than there is internal. And so for me, with school, it was almost more like I need to dream. I need to explore myself. And between my parents and teacher, I didn't have that room. It was either that or run away. You where was I going to go? So it's just, I was limited.
You were young, so there was really nowhere to go.
Right. So I was like, okay, well, skip school.
And then you'd be right back at the house.
I mean, I know that's illogical, but I mean, hey, I mean,
Right.
to me, I had a dream, and
So how many classes would you say you skipped?
it wasn't a common thing. I mean, it was. I mean, every now and then, like if I just didn't feel like going or something, I would just sit. And my cousin had his parents had a nice two-story garage in the back, and we would just sit back there and just laugh, joke, play, and listen to music or whatever the case may be. You know, it was nothing extreme. We were, kids. So,
How
but,
old were you when you guys used to hang out and do that?
could be like middle school. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So is this something that your parents would just now find out about?
Yeah. Because I gotta say, I'm a very discreet
Okay.
person, and
So
very,
now they'll probably be like, "What? You really did that?"
well, I mean, right now I'm 33 years old. Ain't nothing that's gonna surprise them now. Like they be like, "Oh, that's all? Good.
Okay.
We'll take that."
If that's all you
Right,
did.
exactly.
Right. If that's all you did. So again, let me recap. So Frank, you are from Savannah, Georgia.
Correct.
Grew up there.
Correct.
What made you come out here to Hampton Roads area?
The military.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So after high school, did you join the military after high school?
No, I went to college for a little while, and I
Okay.
was studying architecture, and then I switched over to computer engineering, and then I wasn't happy. So I said,
Okay.
my friend said, "Hey man, Frank, let's just get out of here." I'm like, "Man, I'm in," and we left. And when I went to the military, I was doing
He
electronics
just
and
said,
airplanes.
"Let's just get out of here."
Yeah, and we
So
just.
when he said, "Let's just get out of here," where did y'all go?
He was like, "Man, we're going to go to like the MEPS, the check-in stations and for the
Oh,
military."
okay.
Yeah.
So you guys both checked in together to the Navy.
Well, we went to the station together, but he ended up going out I think he went 6 months before I did, but we both left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you went into the Navy.
Right.
What did you do while you were in the Navy?
I fixed electronics inside of the airplanes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, were you happy then?
No, I still wasn't happy because
So
it
you
was
didn't
something.
find happiness then either,
No.
but it was something different. Did you travel while you were in the Navy?
I did.
What places did you go? Did you get to see?
France, Greece, Dubai,
Ooh,
Bahrain.
nice.
Yeah, France. Yeah, those places.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, did that bring you some happiness?
No,
Because,
no.
I mean, wasn't that the first time you had left the country? Or did you travel, like, summer times, parents?
We travel a lot of road trips.
Did you guys do, okay. You guys
Yeah,
did
it was
road
nothing out of the
trips?
country.
Okay.
Yeah,
So when you joined the Navy, this was the first time that you had went out the country.
Correct.
And was that experience fulfilling?
I mean, it was enlightening. I mean, because now you can see almost like everything is not as far as it seems. Like you see it on the map, like, oh, Asia's way over here, Dubai's way over here, Portugal is way over here. You see
Right.
that and you think of it just from a map's perspective, and now you're there. So like everything is not so far. Like everything can be reached. So it made it seem as if that everything was accessible.
Mm-hmm.
The things that seem so remote actually are really accessible.
Yeah.
And from that, it's just, again, that principle, because I'm a principle guy, you can apply that whether it be to travel, whether it be an internal issue you're dealing with, something that seems so remote, like pain or hurt or whatever the case may be, it still is accessible. So it's just that principle applied to different areas of life. So there's a lot of principles that I've learned as a result of being exposed to different things. And from that, it helped me to become a better person. And so fulfillment came as a result of really an internal search. It was not necessarily the travel or how many pretty women I've seen across the seas or whatever the case may be. Or, it was just more, again, everything.
So it was just, okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't experience any wild and crazy fun over there?
No, I'm a very, like I said, I am a very reserved person. I really am. Depending on my environment. Like like let's just say if you're my cousin or my friends with me, y'all, we know who the designated drivers are gonna be. It ain't gonna be me, you know what I mean? But I know how to act around certain people, and a lot of foreign people that I don't know, not necessarily foreign people in the countries, but in the military. It's just, to me, I'm like, no, because I don't know if you're really for me or against me, and I don't have time to try to decipher or discern between who is. No, I don't have time for that. So just act accordingly and just, yeah.
Okay, so but you had fun. Did you bring souvenirs back and stuff?
I did. I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had fun.
It was cool.
And you served, you said 5 years, I
5
believe?
years. 5 years.
Okay. So when you got out, what was next? What did you do next?
I ended up going to school.
And why did you get out?
It just wasn't me.
Okay.
Although I'm reserved, I'm somewhat of a free spirit. I like to make my own decisions. I like to chart my own course. I like to be a trailblazer. I'm a person. I would rather figure out life instead of someone telling me what to do. And that was always why I got in trouble a lot as a child, because do this, do this, do this. Why? You don't ever tell me why, so I can understand why I'm doing this. So when I do something wrong, I'll know how to change or correct the mistake that I'm making in the process, or at least know the direction I'm going is not the right way. Just do this, but I don't know what I'm walking. I don't know how to gauge my benchmarks or gauge progress when I'm walking towards what you're telling me, because you never gave me a level of understanding. So it was more.
Is that how you felt? Okay. So
in life in general.
Okay. Okay.
And in the military, do this. Well, how do I know? I mean, yes, I know what the outcome.
So were you
be.
saying why a lot in the military? Were you saying? Because I'm wondering, did you get in trouble?
I got in trouble a lot because.
Okay.
I did.
Because I'm like, ooh, you seem real argumentative, and you know some people don't like that.
They don't. I mean, but it's like, again.
But if you're, sometimes you make people, you probably got them frustrated. Because if they didn't know the answer, it's just like, do what I say, do.
And
that's it.
Most people never knew the answer. They were told by somebody else to do something, and they just tell somebody else
and you're
under
like,
them.
But why?
Or what exactly are we doing? What is the outcome? What am I supposed to expect as a result of doing this? Because again, when you start dealing with people's lives, I want to minimize that room of error.
Right.
So don't tell me, hey, do this, and don't calibrate the system correctly. Next thing you know, you got a Marine or somebody on the ground when a satellite radio is not done right, in the cryptos or something. You know what I'm saying? Something's not right. And next thing you know, the whole platoon is gone. So it's like, why are we doing this? Or what can I expect when I'm doing this? And that's always been my approach with life. And a lot of the frustration came from in life is that when I'm not asking to challenge your authority or challenge who you are. I'm asking to understand. And so I've learned that I quit asking people a lot. I've learned just to search out my own answers, or or I read a lot of books. That's how I started developing my own prototypes and my own concepts, because I'm like, well, why is this? What? Because
you want to know how it works in order to make sense of it in your mind.
That's correct.
You want to know how this works and why are we doing this, unless you're going to keep on asking the questions until it made sense in your mind.
Right.
Until it made sense. Okay. So at what point did you say, okay?
I mean, when I was in the military, I said, I've learned that most people just don't even know. They just say do it just to get it done. Sometimes it's just to fill in a check. And if that's what they want to play, I just go along with their system. At the end of the day, it's for peace. I'm a peace person. I always just try to make peace. If I'm going to ask something and it frustrates them, like the people around me or just the leadership, and they take it out on somebody else, it's not worth it. So at the end of the day, if we're going to do it just to do it, hey, if it comes out wrong, hey, the reality is that you didn't tell me how or what. So it's just like, oh, just do this.
Oh.
So it's just like, and it was just, and anytime I start seeing flaws and breakdowns in systems and things that are not operating efficiently, I really slowly begin to detach. And so my process throughout the military, I was just a very quiet, distant person. And people, not professors, but my lead, like the people above me, like, we don't know anything about me. I'm saying to myself, let's keep it that way. Because it's just, when I see things that are completely dysfunctional and disorderly, I begin to detach, because everybody's going to catch part of that when there's a lot of dysfunction. If it's 5 people in the car and it's shaking at 80 miles an hour, not just the driver's going to be hurt. You know what I mean? It can be everybody in the car and there's somebody on the side of you.
Right.
So when I see systems that are dysfunctional, somebody's going to get hurt. Something's going to go down wrong because it should not be operating this way. And so when I see that, I start detaching myself, like, I'm not saying I'm an emotionally inert person, but I'm just saying I begin to detach, because I know that when it begins to unravel, how people manage their selves or their emotions, they get reckless, and people just start getting hit with words or objects in the military. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just,
you said objects.
I mean, so somebody will throw papers, they'll throw pens. Yeah, I mean, because it's just, again,
They get frustrated.
yeah, and so everybody doesn't know how to handle their emotions or their anger or whatever.
How did you handle your anger?
To me, I I will say this.
Did you throw objects?
No, I'm not a throwing person.
Okay.
I'm the type of person.
Oh, you hit them.
No,
No,
no.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'll look at it. I say, okay, this was done wrong. This can be done better. You learn. I mean, I'm the type of person. I learn from what I've done wrong, and I just move on from that. You know.
So even in your most frustrated moment, you did not pick up an object.
No, no. It's because it's immature. I mean, it's silly. I mean, it really is. That doesn't. You throwing a pen and hitting somebody, or throwing a paper or a book at a wall. Did that solve the problem? It's not logical. I mean, so it's like I'm not going to do something that's completely illogical, and just being reckless and drunk in your emotions is illogical.
You prefer to work through that problem instead of blowing up because the problem does not get solved.
Right.
So you prefer to work through it.
Right, absolutely.
Find out what the bottom. You want to find out the bottom line.
Right.
What the issue was in the first place. Right. What caused that issue.
Right.
Okay. So what point did you decide I'm not going to re-enlist?
Oh, when they kept trying to talk, oh, you should re-enlist. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And believe me, I was counting my days. And so after that,
okay,
I'm like,
so you were counting down. It was So it was a countdown. So you decided in your mind that you were only going to do that first contract.
Right.
And you were going to be done anyhow.
Right.
And so at midpoint, you didn't kind of have doubt or.
My thing is this, dude, you made it before you got in, you'll make it once you get out. And so it's just, again, I mean, I try to be somewhat logical with what I do. If it doesn't work out, dude, you still have life. You have an opportunity to change. You still have an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow. You'll grow. I mean, at the very least, you'll grow. So you're not losing.
Right.
So it's, again, I mean, that's just.
So to me, you were saying you shouldn't be afraid to follow your dreams. You shouldn't be afraid because I think people are afraid of change.
Right.
You get so complacent with your job, and rather that be because you were in the military for this amount of years, and you become so comfortable and secure in that job that people are afraid of what comes next.
Right.
So how did you overcome that obstacle? And because did you already have a vision of and a drive and a determination of what you were going to do next?
I'm a challenge driven. I love to play in the unknown. Most people run away from the unknown, so I'm the type of person, if it's unknown territory, send me there. If it's a high fail rate, send me there. I mean, that's just because the reality is that even if I don't succeed with or I don't come up with what I expect to come up with, at least there was something deposited inside of me that I've acquired some type of wisdom. And wisdom is the more valuable than money or anything else, because if the reality is that you can have money, lack wisdom, and squander it. You can have wisdom, have a little money, and make more. And so it's like, so at the end of the day, me going into a situation in the unknown, I've acquired wisdom, so I know when I go to another territory that has been uncharted or a common territory that I've been exposed to already, I at least know how to maneuver in that more efficiently, more effectively, so I don't have to exert more energy. And so it's all about, to me, it's all about what I can learn. It's not, to me, that's just what I believe about what can I learn and how can I apply what I know. And that's how I take my approaches in life, because I believe the process is by far the greater thing than the end result, because the end result, you've arrived. But what did you learn along the way that helps you to have the correct perspective? So when you get there, you'll know how to operate with a level of grace, a level of understanding, a level of patience, because all of that stuff should be cultivating certain gems inside of you. Right. So when you get to that place, you'll know how to treat people with respect, or how to, I mean, because, you have some people who get things overnight and they have character deficiencies, and you give them power or money, and God, I mean, everybody's just getting shots now. Like, they're shooting at everybody. You know, you don't even warm the coffee up right. Now they're calling you an idiot and you're fired, you know, but it's just like, but it's craziness, you know? So it's like, because it's a person who tried to short circuit the process.
Right.
So I'll learn to love the process. So at the end of the day, when I acquire what it is that I've aspired to become, or to, you know, what I'm working towards, I'll know how to manage it correctly.
Would you say you learned a lot in the Navy, which kind of helped you now?
I learned more about myself.
Okay.
Because when you have somebody,
so you did acquire those learning tools that kind of helped you.
Because I was away from my environment.
Okay.
I was away from my comfortable environment, friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And you take a person out of that comfortable environment.
So you go from a boy to a man in the Navy?
I wouldn't say that, but because there was still character deficiencies, you know, that was only.
What particular character deficiencies did you have?
Learning how can I say this?
Take your time. Take your time.
When it came to me being in the military, it was you're seeing things from someone giving you an order, and they don't necessarily know, or they're not necessarily respected, if that makes sense. It's just that they have rank, so automatically you just do what you're told, even though you know that it's wrong. Oh, I got in trouble for doing the things that. Well, I got in trouble for telling a person, hey, that's not right. And, you know, so I mean, it's just, but, so what I'm getting at is that, to me, there was a level of integrity that had to be formed there, but the character deficiency that I had more when I was in there was more the whole fact of respecting a person in the position they were in, even if they were not qualified for that position. Does that make sense?
So, okay. Because I'm trying to, I want to understand.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it makes sense yet, because I want to understand, because you're saying that you still did what was required even though it was wrong.
No, I've told them it was wrong, you know.
And then you got in trouble.
Yeah, and I got in trouble, but I didn't care, because to me, I'd rather have integrity and do what's right and get punished for it than, because at the end of the day, eventually people will see it my way if you have integrity. But for me, that whole thing was that respecting a person in authority, even if you knew that they were wrong, or they did things wrong, or they handled their business wrong, it was still just respecting their position, because they have that level of position there, even though they're not the most qualified. You know, does that make sense? So
yeah. So would you still do it, even though, I mean, if they're this high-ranking person and you know that they're wrong?
No, if it's wrong, I'm not doing it. It's just the fact of I still respect you, even though you told me to do something wrong. I still respect you,
but I'm not going to do it.
Right. That's not right, you know. And at the end of the day,
so you would be. So there's a way to handle that. You would just be like, with all due respect, sir, or ma'am, I'm not going to do that. You know, I respect what you're you as a person, but that particular job that you were telling me to do is not right, and this is why. So you wouldn't just say no without, you know.
I was tactful. I would never tell a person no.
Okay.
You have to use deductive reasoning with me.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You did follow up. You know, if you did say, I'm not going to do this, you said, I'm not going to do this because, you're not just going to say, well, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
No.
Right. No, I'm not. That's not me. No. I just learned, again, just to respect them, the position they are in.
Right.
Again, most of them are just carrying out orders that they're told to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to see it from their perspective. So it helped me. So what I had to learn in the military, seeing it beyond just my own lens.
Okay.
You know, so that was something that helped shape some character deficiencies I had, but also learning to respect authority just because they're authority, not necessarily the fact if they're right or wrong. The fact of the matter is that you have been given this level, this position, this authority, you're going to be held accountable for how you execute and do things in your position or your authority. So it's like, learn to respect. All right, I don't know what they're really carrying. You know, so it's just, again, it helped me to see beyond my own lens, but also, you know, like a lot of the stuff that's going on with the police, and unarmed people.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's just same thing. I respect police because not all of them are bad, but you're shooting people. Not all of them are guilty, and that's really not your job to impugn that judgment to see who's guilty or not. It is to execute the. It's to do what you're told to do instead of some people just carry things in their own hands, and that's not. I mean, so, and I'll stop before I get off on a whole tangent. But again, I've learned to still, because every police officer is not bad. So when you see it on the media, to say, you know, those are some bad ones, because you got some bad even in everything. You know, you got some bad in the church. You got some bad in the politicians. I mean, in the school. I mean, so you learn to see that everybody. No, so it's like you learn to see. Okay, I respect you. If you tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. But at the end of the day, you know, so that's what I learned in the military. You know, even though I don't always agree with certain things or what you say or do, or whatever the case may be, because of your authority and your position, I'm just going to respect you. You know, respect that position at least, even if I don't respect that person. You know, but you know, and I've learned to craft and do and say and behave a certain way that it would not be perceived as me trying to be insubordinate. You know, like yeah. So.
Okay. So did you have any insubordinate moments?
I used to laugh a lot because to me it was...
So even if they were telling you something that you knew you weren't going to do, but telling you to do, would this be the laugh?
Well, if it's, again, I laugh because it was illogical. They'd be like, hey, go do this and do this. I'm like, what? We know we are not, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying to myself, I'm laughing in my head like, bro, you know we're not supposed to be able to do this, or we're not doing this, and well, we can't do this. But you know, so it's just, for me, it was, I mean, I laugh on many different reasons. Sometimes when you got grown men talking to other grown men like kids, and you know, to me, that's very funny. I don't know why I'm so tickled by that. And I always got in trouble. Like, you're telling a grown man, like, you're not going to be able to go home and see your kids if you don't do what I tell you. Like, where do you get off telling another grown man some foolishness like that? And I mean, I always used to laugh because, again, they always said, Frank, we don't know anything about you. Let's leave it that way because I don't need you to try to think you have some type of leverage. Oh, whoa, we're not going to let you go home and see your family. I don't have a family. You know what I mean? So, like, we're not going to let you, I don't have that. So it's just like, it was... The manipulation and the tactics that they use and how they deal with grown men, I just did not respect. We're grown men here, so and I always laughed at that, but I got in trouble a lot for laughing. But
so you got out after
5 years.
The 5 years. Any regrets?
No. I don't tend to have regrets on things that I decide to do. I just tend to say, hey, you made that decision.
Because sometimes it's scary to, you know, to jump out on, you know, faith and say, I'm going to change my whole career path, you know, instead of having this career in the Navy, which you probably never intended on having. But a lot of people do. But you went on this whole career path and changed your career path. And, you know, for those out there listening and looking on YouTube, I think that that's something that you can take from this, from Frank King, is that never be afraid to follow your dreams. And, you know, you can't be afraid to live life. And if you have a dream, strive for that, because don't hold yourself back, because only you can hold you back.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Only you can hold you back. If you have a dream, follow it, because nothing can beat you can't fail if you keep trying and strive and keep trying and work hard at something. And that is something that you should take from this, because what I'm hearing from you is that you weren't afraid to fail. You said, I'm going to change. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. And you stayed driven. And you continue to do that.
Right. I mean, there were uncertainties, but the reality is, and I hope everybody understands that the reality is that you have to create the life that you desire or you want. Like, that's just, I mean, you know, yes, I'm a Christian and I believe, you know, and, you know, direction and divine direction and things of that sort. But I'm still believe there has to be there's certain things that you desire in your heart. People are not going to give to you. You have to create. You have to desire and go after those things and create what it is that you want for your life. And and don't be afraid. There are going to be levels of. There are going to be times you're going to be uncertain. That's fine. I mean.
Scared.
Yeah, I mean, but it's
because I think some people do. A lot of people do have dreams of of wanting to do something different, but are afraid to step out on faith or afraid to follow their dreams.
Right.
Because they become so secure and complacent in what they're doing. So people don't do that.
Right.
But I think it's important to do that. You only have this one life to live. So I think that it's important to step out. If there's something else that you want to do, that you believe that you can do, that you have a purpose other than what you're doing, then I say try it.
Right.
Nothing beats a failure but a try.
Right.
So, Frank, you left Navy.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do after the Navy? Once you left.
Well, I had money saved. I had a lot of things saved and stuff of that sort.
Okay.
And I gave back my vacation time. That gave me a lot of money because I sold back. I never took a lot of vacation. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I see a lot of. You're hearing one side of my whole military experience. I still like the military. It's very easy. It was very simple. It wasn't bad at all. So.
And there's a lot of benefits to being in the military.
Right.
With the GI Bill.
Right, and that's what I went to school for. Right.
They pay for your schooling.
Right.
I think there's a lot of perks to
Right.
actually being a part of the United States military.
Right.
They do offer a lot of benefits to serving our country. So,
Right.
so definitely can't take that away from
Correct. Absolutely.
from them. So you used your GI Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And did you go to school? So you went to school after the
Mhm.
Navy. What school did you go to, Frank?
I went to Taiwan Community College, and then
Okay.
I went to Norfolk State University.
Okay, and what you got your degree in? What did you get your degree in?
Electronic engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, after you graduated and you got your degree in electronic engineering, what was your dream then?
I want to start developing printed circuit boards. I wanted to develop because I was doing a lot of research when I was undergraduate. I ended up in neural engineering research, and they were doing all types of stuff like putting optical sensors on brains and
Oh, wow.
They were doing some pretty cool stuff, but it was on rats' brains. Now it was not on human brains.
Okay, that was what I was thinking about that. I was like, dang, what they weren't doing that on humans.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, and
Ooh, that'd be scary. So what was the outcome of doing that on rats' brains?
I think
what did they learn from that?
they were looking. I think it was more for Parkinson's. It's something.
And what happened to the rats?
I'm not sure because it was a joint thing with a medical school down the street, and I don't know because like I said, for me, I was undergraduate, so I wasn't doing a lot of the PhD and master stuff. I was just doing. I was around them, but I started getting hands on when I went into the nanotechnology side when we started developing.
Were you working at the same time while you were going to school?
No.
Okay, so you did this full time. You just dove into school full time.
Yeah, for the first year and a half, and then after that, I started working.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, but the research I was doing in nanotechnology, we were developing coin cell batteries from the atomic level. Now that was interesting, like to see atoms and seeing things on these. I mean, it was beautiful. And from that, I started doing a wireless power.
So you've always been into power.
I love anything with electricity. Yeah, electronics and electricity.
Okay, that's what you call it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've always been into this particular kind of field.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it sounds like you've been into this since you were like a kid.
Right.
Like taking apart stuff, maybe not knowing how to put it back together.
Right.
But you were taking apart stuff,
Right.
even as a kid. So this is something you've dreamed of doing all of your entire life.
Right.
So you've been good at it your entire life.
Right.
Now, is this the same thing your dad does?
No, he's a mechanical engineer.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
And I always laugh at him because I tell him no, do electrical, like electronic engineers. We're way better. We're awesome. But he was, I mean, he was. I would say this. He's different because his first job was at NASA. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so he's
Nice.
very bright,
Okay.
and so like he's just a very bright guy. To me, we're different because he's more. He loves application. He loves engineering. He just loves
Okay.
it. He eats, sleeps, and breathes it. That's not me. You know,
No?
no, I'm more electrophysics or
Okay.
electrochemistry. I love electricity.
Okay.
So it's not engineering; it's the
That's
applied
different.
physics.
Mhm.
So he loves that. I love the actual physical science of electricity. Why
Why
is
is that?
electricity? Oh, because I've learned that, and another principle with life as well is that I've learned that sometimes we just go based on things that we've been given and we apply it from that and never really understand how did it come to this, what has it been derived from,
Mm.
because at the end of the day when something has been derived, it has been derived incorrectly, you lose meaning. So now when you look at life could lose meaning, or communication could lose meaning in the translation or what has been derived from. So you're looking at, so when I look at it from that perspective, what is this, why is this, and why are we applying it this, or how did it get to this point? You know,
So
we
you've
look.
always been very analytical
Oh,
when
yeah.
it comes to.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So at what point did you decide, okay, I'm gonna start my own? Were you working, because you're doing now, what are you doing now besides your,
I work part-time at Dave & Buster's and I fix the electronics there.
do you?
Mm-hmm.
You fix the electronics
Yeah,
there?
we fix the games and stuff.
Oh, wow. So is that something, now do you play the games?
I'm not a big player. A lot of people play them. I mean, I play them to make sure they work
What did you
correctly.
do for fun? I didn't
I
even ask
don't-
you. I had to back all the way up, Frank. What did you do for fun in high school and college?
I dream
Because you've been dreaming since you were young.
right, but to me, it takes
You
me
had to
to
do
a
something
place.
else besides sleeping.
No, I mean-
Sleeping and dreaming.
Well, I was.
Frank, you didn't go to any parties. You didn't. I didn't hear.
I
about
was the
I
party.
didn't hear about the fun. The fun. I went out and I did this and Frank.
I was always driven. Like it was. I mean, I played basketball and football, but I mean.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I played that, of
Oh,
course.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
See,
but
you
it's-
didn't tell us about this.
Well, because I think that I thought we were just leading up to where I am now. So I
Oh
thought.
no, I like to know everything.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh yeah, we nosy like that. Yeah, we nosy like that. We like to know everything.
Yeah, I mean,
But you did so okay. So you
Yeah, I
did
did.
play sports and all that.
Right.
Okay, okay.
yeah,
So
I
you
did.
played sports and all that, but you didn't. But that wasn't your passion. Clearly, this has always been your passion. But that's nice to know that you still. I just wanted to hear about the fun you. That's probably more so me being nosy than anything.
Gotcha. I was thinking about a joke when you were talking. I said, well,
What do you think about you?
Because we like said, like people like, why do you like electronics? I'm like, I think women and electronics are alike. You know, they're all both unknown. Like you, you want to understand. You know, I don't know. I mean, it's corny, but you know, it's corny.
Well, that could be true though.
Like I would never truly understand all electronics. I would never understand a woman. I mean, so it's like you get to a place where you just have to be content with what you know, and just walking out from there. You know, and you'll learn as you go on. I mean,
Mhm.
so
Do you have a family, Frank?
no,
Okay, children?
no.
Just mom, dad, sisters, brothers, right?
Niece and two nephews.
Do they live out here too?
No, everybody's in Georgia. I'm the only one here.
You're the only one. So you got out the military and stayed here
Yeah, I did.
because you got out from here.
Mm-hmm.
And what year?
2012. No, I'm sorry. All right, I got out 2012. I joined 2005. I think I told you I joined 2012 earlier, but I joined
Yes, you did.
2007 and got out in 2012.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Okay,
My
okay.
apologies,
Because you
my
did
apologies.
say 2012,
I did.
and I'm like,
And I'm-
12.
And I was thinking about that. I'm like,
Because
yeah,
I was
I
thinking
did.
you just got out then in
No, no, no.
2017 because you said you
Right,
you
right,
know,
right,
you did
right.
5 years.
Right.
Okay, so 2007,
I joined.
and then you got out in 2012.
Correct.
Okay,
Mhm.
and then you went to school
Mm-hmm.
after you got out.
That's correct.
And then you graduated
2016, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
so not too long. It hasn't been that long. That you've graduated.
Right.
So you graduated from what college? What university did
Norfolk
you say?
State University.
Norfolk State. So you graduated from Norfolk State,
Mhm.
and then you started working. You worked part time,
Mhm.
and then what year did you start InSync Technologies?
Oh, I started last year because
What made you start InSync Technologies?
when I was doing wireless, well, it was one of the most transformative moments in my life was when I was in this class. My professor, he was a quantum physicist, brilliant guy, and he taught
What
me.
What is quantum?
He
Can you explain
studies
that?
like solid state things and like things from the quantum levels. Like so, it's like it's never like so when you get into nanotechnology, we're not less necessarily looking at things on. Like, nanotechnology is a lot of it is based off quantum mechanics. So
Okay.
you start looking at small particles and things of how they act and react and things that I mean I'm not too astute in what it is that is, but I do know that it's beyond what I've been taught from the microelectronic level.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not so microelectronics and nanotechnology are two totally different things. One's looking more from the electron level, most of microelectronics, because that's a lot of electronics. But I think the nanotechnology is looking at the quantum level, because when we were dealing with those nano batteries, we were doing everything at
Sounds
atomic
like a
level.
really high level.
Yeah, and he was a brilliant guy, and I asked him. I said he was saying he made this just example. He said A, B, C all exhibit similar characteristics, and he was saying how they all exhibit similar characteristics, and they're all on the same spectrum. I said, well, okay, with A, B, and C all on the same spectrum, and they exhibit the similar characteristics, why can I use C to do A or B to do A instead of A from what we're doing now? Because he was looking at light and like different things on the electromagnetic scale, like light and all these things, they exhibit certain similar characteristics. Or so I'm like, okay, well, why can't I use light to charge something, or or use magnetism to do this, or instead of electricity? Because if you're telling me they all mimic a specific pattern and a specific behavior, why do I have to be stuck with using A instead of B and C? And
what did he say?
he said, and he wanted, because I'm used to stumping my teachers with great questions. He said, who said that it couldn't be done? He said, you may just not be able to have the test equipment to check it. And so, but it was something else he said, but he turned it on me. So long story short, it slapped me so hard because I'm never used to a teacher. I'm used to a teacher saying, oh, I've never heard that question, or I don't know why, or it's not in my notes. I'm used to it. So when he turned it around on me, it slapped me. It woke me up, because it's like, you're not as bad as you think you are. Like, now, what is the answer? You know what I'm saying? I forgot how he rephrased how he.
So, or will you tell me since?
Yeah, and
yeah.
It like
Figured
it woke me up, and I'm like, oh, but it also added value.
So then, did you do your research? So did it cause you to do your
Yes,
research and
it
say,
made me-
okay, well,
yeah.
he's making me
Right, and that made
work
me.
this out.
Yeah, because he challenged you, said, "Who said
And
you
challenge
can't?"
you. So
And I live for challenges.
you said, who said you can't? So you're saying, show us.
Right.
Right.
I'm like, wow. And
So did you show? Did you figure that out?
Well, I ended up speaking to another physics guy because I was doing research, and he said, well, Frank, you got to understand most things that are in certain form have to be converted in another form to be used. So as a result, it helped me to see, and then eventually the professor said, he says, you may just not have the test equipment to test it to see if it is true or not. He said, but it can be done. So when he said that, that challenged me to believe. I mean, because from that point on, I said I would never second guess myself again. I will go figure things out. I will read. I will study. I will do whatever I have to do, and I'll ask the people who at least can. They don't have to know the answer, but if you could point me in the right direction or give me the right book, I'll study it. And that's when after that I went to that wireless power, and he was another physics guy, and I used to ask him all type of weird stuff, and he had an answer for it. I said, okay. And that is what helped me. From that, it made me constantly play with wireless power, even when I got out. And that's what eventually it led me into starting this company, because I was so fascinated by just that technology. And
just the fact of wireless power is really something that is, I'm sure, a mystery to a lot of people.
Right.
Because you can't even really fathom the thought of it being wireless.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I can't really fathom the thought of power being wireless.
Right.
How it can work
Right.
without that. And you're saying it can.
Yeah.
And it can happen, and I'm going to show you.
Right. Right.
And you brought some props here today
Mm-hmm.
to show us all just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I need to give you some food to
No,
try
the,
this
the,
out?
the power amplifier is not in there.
Okay.
Because when I took it to the conference, I presented this technology for the first time in the world.
Mhm.
They've never seen anything like this, and so
You were saying, I'm sorry to cut you off, and I want you to finish
Mhm.
what you were saying, but I just wanted to get out the fact that I know earlier you were saying about how other countries use something similar, because you were talking about the buses.
see they use magnetic induction.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
wasn't exactly the same
Correct.
as wireless power then.
It is still wireless power,
Oh, it
but the
is.
technologies are different.
Okay.
So that's
How
like, well, so induction, your Samsung
Mhm.
phones that you charge, that's
Mhm.
induction. The stoves where you put your pots on and it's magnetism and stuff,
Mhm.
that's induction. You have to sit on something to break up the magnetic field. So when it's showing, so it'll have a field there readily available, but again, it has to be like that pan or that pot on the stove to break
Mhm.
up that magnetic field, or a cell phone that break up that magnetic field.
Oh.
Yeah, so but if you put a distance there, it won't happen. See, that's the difference between my technology and magnetic induction. This is magnetic resonance. So essentially, you can be a distance and you don't necessarily have to be sitting directly on a specific surface. I mean, the only reason I'm sitting it on that surface is
Mhm.
because I don't have it embedded inside of the device that I'm trying to heat or charge.
Okay, so how does it work without sitting on a surface then?
You embed so the surface becomes a part of the device. Does that make sense? So it's like the technology inside of it. So it
Mhm.
automatically goes from whatever you capture into the device.
Oh.
Yeah, so you don't have to sit on a table. So essentially, if I wanted to, I can actually have my cell phone on my hand and be charging. Like as long as it's actually above my a specific range or is in a range, it can charge. And the same thing when I was saying when I presented, I can actually cook in my hand because the theory is that your hand is not.
And it wouldn't even be
That's-
hot.
that's
Your
correct.
hand wouldn't be hot.
That's correct.
But whatever. Now, would the surface be hot?
The surface wouldn't be hot either.
What?
The surface wouldn't be hot on the bottom or the top.
And your hand wouldn't be hot.
That's correct.
But at the same time, it would still cook that food.
That is correct. Because it's the metal that is there that's getting the energy. You're not getting it because you're not metal. So the energy is there. Like, for example, Wi-Fi. You don't get the information from Wi-Fi. Your cell phone does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about what it's intended to go to.
Mm.
So because that power is not intended to go to you, you're not going to get it.
Mm.
It's intended to go to. It has an end result in mind. So whatever
It's
it goes
intended
to.
to go to. Wow.
Yeah. So if it's intended to go
Okay.
to a cell phone or whatever the case may be, yeah, it'll go to that.
So what exactly, can you explain, what exactly are you going to show us today?
I'm just showing.
And explain to our listeners what exactly are you going to show us today?
Yeah. So I embedded a transmitter inside of this little table thing. So it's almost synonymous to like let's just say you're in a coffee shop or airport or something. We have embedded transmitters inside materials where you can sit things on a thing or hold it in your hand again, and you can actually charge things. So what I'll show is that I have an embedded transmitter inside that wooden table there, and I have a receiver in the device that I actually forgot the plate, but the actual, so I have the receiver, and you'll see the light that is on the receiver getting power. And again, if I put a piece of granite there, a piece of wood there, if I throw my jacket or a shoe up there, it still gets power to the load because it's not intended for any of those things. It's intended to go to the load.
Now, what would the plate do? You said you forgot the plate.
The plate was more for a visual demonstration because it's still conceptually it's still pretty weird. So when a person sees that there's a plate or pot or pan, like I had a demonstration down in New Orleans, I had a pot, pan, coffee cup, plate, and I had it all on these ledges on the device itself, and I was showing that wireless power was getting to all of them. I had them sitting on clear acrylic risers, so you see no wires were attached, and I put my hand on there and show people that there was no obstruction. Yeah, so it helped people see what is being done, you know, and that was the reason why I was gonna actually bring the plate, but again, I forgot. But it will still show, it would still do justice.
Need a plate?
No, it's okay. It will still do justice. I can explain it.
Okay, so shall we go to the table and do this experiment? All right, I'm gonna bring you with. Thank you guys so you can see. Okay, so we're moving to the table. And you hear my bird. Every time I move, there goes my bird, Pistachio. I'm not going anywhere, Pistachio. I'm right here. Okay, so I'm gonna do like this. Okay, so we just move. So I'm gonna do like that.
Yeah, so are we good?
So we're looking at you.
Okay.
Look. Okay.
Alright,
They're
so
looking at you, Frank.
what we have is a surface here, and we embedded a transmitter. And so what happens is that you can have a table or a floor or wall or ceiling, whatever the case may be. We can have them embedded transmitters, and so you'll have power. Again, this surface, it doesn't matter. It's embedded, and it's still coming through the surface, and we'll show that. So what we have is an embedded transmitter here, and it's sending energy up right now. And the intended device would only be able to detect that. So now, if you see, and you'll see, like, for example, I'm putting my hand here, I'm putting a piece of granite here, I'll put a piece of wood here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't stop the power.
That's still getting power.
Absolutely. So, and the closer you'll see that the intensity based off of how close or how far I am. And that just shows
you don't even have to have it sitting on it.
That's correct.
This is still getting power regardless.
That's correct.
Wow.
And so what will happen is that when you have, let's just say, if you want to cook.
You guys can see that. Look at, I'm just gonna bring that. Did you see that? Look at, so he's got this plate here. The wood, you see the wood, that is just incredible. I just want to make sure that they can see that you have wood there, and then
a piece of granite right here.
A piece of granite, and then you
put my hand here.
Incredible. Look at that. Guys, look at this. That is just incredible. And still, the plate that you have here, now what exactly is this?
This is just a receiver with a light on it.
And so it has no wires, nothing. No. And it's getting power.
Yeah. So
and what is that exactly? And that's just wireless power.
Yeah. And so if I pull it outside of the field, you'll see it turn off. But if I put it back, it'll get there. So it's a specific.
So does it have to be specific? It has to be on that. I mean, does it have to be directly on something? So how would we make that work for anything to cook with?
It would be based off the power. If I put an amplifier in there, you will be able to get it across. Like you'll be able to get it across the room. Because the only reason that it cuts off at a certain height is because I don't have enough power to it. So if I put it closer, and you'll see that the light intensity goes up the closer I am. But that just shows you the further away I get from it. That just shows you that. So if I had a power amplifier in there, you would actually be able to rather be cooked. You'll be able to sit your cell phone here in charge, whatever the case may be. And the ideal is that we're trying to bring this into the hospitality and in the cooking industry, because in the kitchens, when you look at electric stoves, 55% of the energy gets to the pan, 45 goes in the air. That's why it's hot. So when you look at gas, 65, I believe, gets to the pot. And when you look at magnetism, 90% of your energy gets to the pot.
Oh wow! You guys who are listening on live on the podcast, man, I wish you guys could see this, but if you're missing it, you can always go to Tomorrow's Daily Life and catch this. What Frank has here of this example of wireless power. It is definitely amazing how this is working. I'm amazed at how this is working.
So how it works if you want to cook, because I mean you can put a as long as your cell phone is here, because you can actually if
So would you be able to like just
no, because I would have to put something in the back of that to come get it to go inside of my battery.
Okay.
Yeah, because so essentially, if it's not embedded inside my phone, that it goes to there, I would have to put a receiver inside that cell phone. That's what I'm saying. Like, if this would not have to be if I had a receiver inside that cell phone. So essentially, I can hold my cell phone right here over this power, and my cell phone will charge in my hand. This here is nothing more than a receiver. Okay. So let's just say if I had a pot and I had this embedded in the pot, I would be able to hold the pot right here. You'll see the cooking happen, and you can touch it. Like you can touch the outsides of that pot, like as far as the handles, you will be able to touch it and not be burnt. If I had this plate here, you would actually be able to touch the actual plate, and not be burnt. The pot will still get it because of most of this stuff is a ceramic. So have you ever seen the magnetic stove, the magnetic induction stove?
You talking about the flat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see how they can touch it?
Right.
It's similar concept. So if this was a ceramic heat resistant ceramic, I'll be able to touch it or hold it, and the actual plate or the pot will still be able to cook in my hand, and again, you will be able to touch it and not be burned. So the ideal is, let's just say you're at work and you don't want to go to the break room. If we had them embedded inside of the furniture, you can sit your plate on your desk and warm your lunch up. So it's either you can warm your lunch up or put your cell phone there and charge it. So we're trying to make it almost compatible for warming. It would be compatible because you have to deal with the power of each one. Like you're talking max 15 watts on a cell phone because it's usually 5 volts and max 3 amps. Most people don't even go 3 amps. They probably put 1.5 or 2 amps. So 5 and 2 will give me 10 watts for this. Now when you start talking about cooking, it takes more power. Right. So if I just want to heat something up, I can probably put somewhere around a specific wattage on there that's not necessarily 10 or 15 watts, but I will have to have the circuitry in each one to, step it down and do what it's supposed to accordingly. But again, let's just say we had a kitchen. Let's just say you got family over for Thanksgiving, and you don't have no more room on your burners. You can actually either have this embedded in your countertop, which it could be a granite countertop, and it'll still go through it. Yeah, it'll still go through it. That's why I was trying to show the granite example, because you can have a granite.
It's still going to go through.
Right, it'll still go through it if you had a granite countertop.
And it's not even. That is, wow. Wow.
So you can actually just, if you don't want to have the thing embedded inside your furniture, just put we have a module you can put under there. So let's just say again, the whole Thanksgiving thing. You want to warm your turkey up, put your module under your countertop, sit the pot or pan or whatever the case on it. It'll warm your turkey up, and you almost have like a fifth burner.
The food is the only thing that would be warm, because this wouldn't be warm.
That is correct.
This wouldn't be warm.
That is correct.
But your food would be warm.
Absolutely, because that food is inside the metal. That metal becomes your issue when it gets into that magnetic field, because that metal and that magnetism. Matter of fact, when you get a metal block, or when you get a magnet, you stick it on a metal, it attracts to it.
Right.
It doesn't attract to wood.
No.
It doesn't attract to my body.
No.
That's the same thing. That's when I put metal here, that magnetic field goes to that metal. If I put a magnet on my hand, it won't do anything. I won't feel it. Same thing here. If I put it on a piece of granite, it won't stick to it. I won't feel it. If I put it on a piece of wood, I won't stick to it. I won't feel it. So that's right. So it's that same technology. It's almost that same. It's that same thought behind it.
I see.
Yeah. So
I see.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, you have to keep it at a certain distance for it to maintain stability of the heat.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Is that what's important here?
Right, because the reason why I'm doing this distance is to let people know that it doesn't. So if you want to stick something under a counter, it'll still do it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So to let them know you can still do it wirelessly, but anything when you're dealing with distance, whether it be wireless power, efficiency degrades typically over time. Even if it's Wi-Fi, people have to put repeaters, like a repeat the signal. Same thing here. If you want to have an extended range, put a repeater between here, and it'll extend the range. Okay, so if you want to cook,
but if you're cooking, you really don't need
exactly. Nobody want to cook at 10 feet in the air.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like, so ideally, it will still be stuck on here.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll still be sitting down on here. So a person, well, why don't I just use induction if I'm still going to be sitting on here? Because you don't know. For example, like me, I study and I get my desk is messy. But if I want to warm my coffee and I can sit it on top of my book, that's better than me having to sit it on top of a module. If I got 3 books, I can still sit it on top of something. And I don't have to sit here and say, oh, it has to be stuck on a module. As a matter of fact, if I put it inside of the furniture, you still have your desk space. You don't have to have modules and wires hanging all over the place. It's all embedded inside there, so you can just sit it on there.
You don't have all that.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's just... And people say, what?
Amazing.
People say, what is it? I'm like, yeah, okay, yes, we can say it's laziness. I mean, we can say it's laziness. I call it innovation, because if you look at technology, it is designed almost to make things easy, accessible, quick, and it produces almost a form of laziness.
So are people saying that it's lazy?
Yeah, one of the girls, she fought a 10 or 15 minute debate. She's like, so what? I said, essentially, it's almost the epitome of laziness. If that's what you're getting at. She just bust out laughing. She said, well, that's what I was getting to. She said, that's why I said it for you. Because I said, you're an engineer, which branch? She said chemical. I said, you're process driven. That's why you asked me all these questions. Chemical engineers are very process driven people. And so she just started laughing again, because I said, no person ever challenged me that way unless there's somebody in that scientific analytical field. The physicist from Ukraine, he questioned.
What was his question?
He said he wanted a partnership. Because he said, bro, this is unbelievable. He said, most people won't even understand what's going on. He said, I want a partnership. Every day I saw him at the conference, I want a partnership. I'm waiting on you. But he has his own software developing firm. And so I told him, I said, man, I want to work with you, man. Because that guy was more passionate about my design than I was. That's very rare.
That's a pretty good design.
And I said, oh my God.
You are definitely on to something, right?
I'm like, okay, if he's that like pumped about it, I said,
what'd you say? Let's do it.
I said, I'm in.
That's right.
So he's like, hey, you just let me know what you need. Who do you need? I'll get the people for you.
Oh.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Yeah, it was a great conference.
Man.
Yeah.
So it was a good learning experience.
Absolutely.
Is this the first conference that you've done, Frank?
Yes. Because I had to get intellectual property. I had to get my stuff patented and all before I come out. And so... And
you just did this.
Right. About a month ago. Yeah. Because
so you got it patented.
Right.
Because you don't want somebody coming out and saying, oh, I'm going to go back to hurry up and get this before.
Right. And again, like one of the venture capitalists, like, well, even if somebody tried to steal your idea, they wouldn't even know how to make it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can assure you, like, and I'm not saying that in an arrogant way, but if it took me a wireless power research and it still took me 2 years or some change to even develop it by hand in my room, I mean, you can get a team of guys to do it.
You did this by hand in your room.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because once you
You're a pretty smart guy.
No, I mean, because once you do something so long in research, you begin to develop a process. Because you do something in research so much, when you mess up, I mess up so much.
But you did this in your room.
Yeah.
What part of the room? Bedroom, living room, dining room?
Yeah, my bedroom.
You just created this in your bedroom?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Frank, that is amazing.
Thank you.
That is amazing. I thank you so much for coming here and sharing this amazing creation. I hope that you guys enjoyed this and hearing about it. I wish that the ones who are listening could really see this, because it truly is amazing. Just the fact I keep reaching in and thinking I'm gonna feel some heat here or something, because just the fact that it's wireless and you have power and there's nothing here. Now, I've seen cell phone where you can have to sit it on, you know, the flat where they came out with the flat thing, and you have to sit it on here. Your creation is different than that. Is that you don't have to sit it down to be charged. You can actually just hold it and there it is. You can cook it from your hand and it's going to be cooking. And nothing's going to be hot.
Right.
That is amazing. And you would call that just wireless energy?
Yeah, just...
What other things can you use with wireless energy?
You can use it, biomedical implants. So when you have that biomedical device inside of your body, because your body doesn't absorb this energy like it's shown here, the device inside of you can be charged and you will never be harmed or burned by it. You can use it to charge batteries on cars. You can use it for, anything that needs power, you can use it. You just have to develop it according to the power requirements. But anything that needs power, you can use it for wireless power. Yeah. So whether it be cell phone.
What is this here?
This was when I first started, and I was drawing out some stuff.
Some things going on here.
Right, because at first I was going to do magnetic induction. That's what I was going to present. But I'm like, man, Frank, why would you do induction if you studied research and resonance? You know, it's two totally different technologies.
Now, is that magnetic induction is the same as the buses and...
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But here's the thing.
Because I remember you saying that was magnetic induction.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure what exactly magnetic induction is, so can you explain that?
Sure. So magnetic induction...
And the difference between that and this.
Sure. So from... let's just say this: when you plug a wire or your when you have a plug in a wall, you're getting electricity to whatever your device is. As a result of electricity moving, it produces magnetism. If you look at some of those readers where they put it close to the wire to see if it's on or off, they're detecting a magnetic field. That's all they're doing. So anytime there's electricity moving, anytime there's something that moves, electron move, there's a magnetic field. So it's almost like if you push your hand across water, the waves that come out is magnetism. Your hand is electricity. So that's how, and they're actually, again, and it's almost a very good representation because they're usually 90 degrees apart. So my hand is perpendicular to the water. So the magnetism is here, and my hand is going there. That's almost a perfect representation of the two. And so what happens is that when you plug it into the wall, the magnetic field comes off. So when you look at magnetic induction, induction is just simply saying that, hey, we're putting electricity through a wire, and there's a pulse that they're sending through it in order to cook, because depending on the pulse determines how deep it penetrates too. So, but long story short, when you send electricity through a wire, you're creating a magnetic field. So when you put a cell phone or you put a car there or anything that breaks up that magnetic field, it gets power. So this here is different because what we're saying is that, okay, we got a signal going in here. Right. That's what the little box I got over there with the signal. It's a signal there. But now what happens is that we're targeting a specific frequency of a material.
So it would be different than like a router. Because it's kind of like, you know, a wireless router.
Similar but different, because when you look at a lot of that stuff, like for example, microwaves, a lot of that stuff is microwave engineering. That's hazardous. You got to stay away from that stuff. Like even cell phone the rays from your cell phone, hazardous. That's microwave engineering. No, that's not good for you. Because here's the problem. Depending on what frequency it's on, it targets the energy levels in water molecules. That's why when you microwave something too long, it's dry.
Right.
And that's so you don't stand in front of microwaves. When I was in the military, we don't stand in front of radars because you wouldn't know you were cooked. You just know eventually you just die. You don't know because it cooks you internally because of the water. You really don't know. You may get burned, but by then it's too late. So that stuff is not good for you. But again, But magnet, so a lot of people go with magnetism. They say, okay, what a magnetic field, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff to that too. But long story short, a lot of that stuff. So magnetic induction is that you have to sit on something to break up that field in order to get the energy.
Okay.
And that's the difference.
That's the difference.
Right. So what happens is that because we're sending a specific frequency, the frequency we're sending. So the lady who screams and shatters the glass, that is almost the exact same technology. It's resonance. You're looking at the material. She shatters the glass. She doesn't shatter the person. Because it's the frequency of that glass or that material. I'm sending this signal, and it's the frequency of this material. That's how energy. That's how.
Gotta be.
Yeah, that's how the energy is transmitted and shared. It's the frequency of the material in here. That's why the energy is shared.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So.
I'm just sitting here looking at it because that's just I'm amazed by that. That's incredible. And nobody else has thought of this.
You have a person like Nikola. Nikola is like a company, and I think they're doing wireless power. I don't know if it's induction or in resonance, but MIT is doing it. Witricity, they're trying to charge car batteries.
Nikola, don't they have cell phones?
I'm not sure. Somebody told me that at the conference.
Sounds familiar.
Somebody told me at the conference. Check them out.
If they had I'm thinking I've heard of them on the West Coast.
See, the thing about a lot of these names like Tesla and Nikola, it's the guys who were the inventors behind this back in the early 1900s. So Nikola Tesla, that's I think that's his name. That's Nikola. I think it's Nikola Tesla. That's his name. But he was an engineer mathematician. He was the one who was trying to get wireless power.
Okay.
And so you have a person like Elon Musk who named his car Tesla, and Nikola that actually has a different firm. Like I think they do trucks or something. Somebody told me this about it when I was at the conference.
Okay.
They said, "Have you ever heard of Nikola?" I said, "No, I only heard of Witricity," and that's MIT's firm, startup. And I said, "Oh, okay." They told me, and I looked it up, but they were doing like trucks and stuff. But again, nobody's ever tried to bring wireless power to the kitchen.
Okay.
Like as far as
and
this.
That's exactly. So this is what your whole reasoning for creating this is for the kitchen.
Yeah, because there's really no breakthrough technology when you look at the restaurants and the technology. I mean, in the restaurant and the tourism industry. And very rare do you get breakthrough technology. But you go around a cell phone or a tablet, we got charging this or fast this. You can take 50 pictures in 1 second. You know, it's always this stuff that everybody crowds to specific corners of industries. And next thing you know, it's like it has to be bigger, better, faster. And the problem with technology is it all has a shelf life.
Right.
So next thing you know, somebody invent something with wireless power in one section of a technology, and the shelf life expires. Now somebody you try to bring this to an industry like cooking. We're done with that. I mean, so it's really just trying to be relevant to the times. So right now this is a big thing. So now you bring it out while the market is somewhat emerging and it's not saturated, because once somebody sees that everything goes there, everybody runs there and they saturate the market, and so for me, bringing it to cooking, nobody's over here because it's a very complex way of bringing it into cooking. It's some things that even I've stumbled in, even trying to get it to that cooking aspect, and it's some complexities to it, and so
your ultimate. So what's the end result? What are you hoping to attain? Well, obviously you're hoping to attain the patent, and you already patented it. What is your dream to have this?
To be honest, I just want to be able to, if I could use this, because like I said, remember I was saying like it can charge a phone, or it can cook, or it can warm things up at the similar power levels, lower power levels. Eventually I would want to get it to places like Haiti, Africa.
Oh, nice.
Because now they can cook or warm stuff up, but also have power when the sun goes down. Because when I was in school, some optical engineers developed something for Haiti. It cost $3. They still couldn't afford it because they only make $40 a year in Haiti. The average salary was like $40 a year. So they would have had to sell it to the Red Cross.
Wait, the average salary is $40
a year
In a whole year.
Yeah, from what I was told from the analysis they made. Yeah. Yeah. That was the analysis. That's why they couldn't sell it. They got it down to almost $3, but they still couldn't sell it to them because they couldn't afford it. That was most of their year's salary. So they would have had to sell it to the Red Cross, and the Red Cross would have had to give it to them, or they would have had to get it to some type of organization to get it down to them. So for me, it will be wanting to help people in Africa and Haiti and these underdeveloped countries, because the reality is that, think about when the hurricanes hit. If I had these embedded under the street, you would still have power. Because it'll still go through the ground.
Wow.
So
some modern technology. Wow. Right. And that's the world we live in.
I mean, it should not be that hurricanes come and people can't even. Yeah.
But that is true. That is a good point. We would have power if we had those, because they'd be
embedded under the street.
Wow.
Which is why they started putting power lines here under the ground. That's exactly why they did it. They don't have it. Some of them, they go under the ground. That's why it takes longer to deal with it when it goes out. But they put it under the ground, so when the water and wind, the wind and all that stuff comes, it don't just knock and blow stuff all over the place. So why can't we put these embedded systems under the ground?
Good point.
So
that is great, man. Okay, you guys hear that? That is freaking awesome. That is an awesome creation. Okay, come back over here, Frank. Let's close this up. Okay, we're gonna come back over here just a moment and come back over here. We're just going moving back over here into another section here. Just because that was amazing. That was absolutely, thank you, Frank, for sharing that with us. I hope that I can get you to come back and after you've done some things and share with us all the new things that you're doing. Any other projects that you're working on, Frank?
No, that's the biggest one there.
Because that is huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. And you've done this in 2 years.
I made that in 2 months because I was not going to present that originally. So I just I did research for 2 years, so I understood it enough. So if someone says, hey, I need, let's just say someone said, hey, I want to get my car to charge. You can give me probably a couple of days and I can have something, just because I've done it so much. You tell me the power requirement, I can say, okay, this should do this at this efficiency at this distance, and I can develop.
But this is the biggest project.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you have worked on.
Right.
Okay. Well, I hope that you can, I can get you to come back in a few months and kind of tell us where you're at with your company and the progress that you've made. That would be great, and what you're using it towards at that point. So hopefully, that you presented it, and what is the next step from here?
I just ordered some parts from Hong Kong and China. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually put it together and actually put it before some venture capitalists.
Awesome.
Yeah, and put it before some investors and some venture capital people, because I met a lot of them when I was down at the convention. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see. Right. All right. Well, Frank, thank you for coming out and sharing that with us. I really had a good time and enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions or anything, if they have any questions about your wonderful company and everything that we spoke about today, is there an email address maybe that our listeners can email you and maybe ask you a few questions?
I have a website.
Oh, great.
The website is www.nsync, so it's NSYNC Tech, TECH.com. And there's also, I have a Facebook. It is NSync Technologies on Facebook, and Twitter, I believe, because I have not, they forced me to get on Twitter. I'm not a social media So it's like NSYNC Tech VA. So it'll be the same. Yeah, because when they were there, they oh, what are all your social medias? And I'm like, so I had to get all these websites and all that stuff. But that's not me. I'm not a social media person, but I want to become that as a result. Because I can see the power in it. And so the Twitter is NSYNC Tech VA.
Because you want to promote this.
Right.
You know? It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful invention. So I'm sure you want to promote it. And for anyone who's listening or watching that may want to maybe get a better understanding of your wonderful invention, or want to ask you questions,
sure.
or you may have an aspiring, what do you call it? Electrical.
Some engineer.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever questions. Yeah, whatever
so
questions.
Are you open to?
Oh, absolutely. If someone needs questions or anything, or just if you have, I mean, because like I said, remember I was telling you, like, I'm a guy. I want to know why. If you want to know why or what or how does it work, please reach out. I want people to understand. That's what I really want people to get from everything, especially this presentation. I want you to understand that, you know. I just want you to understand.
Get a better understanding of how it works. If they didn't quite understand by listening, for the listeners, if they didn't quite understand how this power works, this wireless power works, maybe they can, check out your website, and maybe contact you through there and find out. So again, one more time, can you tell our listeners the websites one more time?
Sure. The website is www.nsynctech. So NSYNC is NSYNCTECH. So nsynctech.com. And on Facebook it's NSYNC Technologies. And on Twitter it's @NSYNCTechV. So for
the fact that you remembered all those, that's great. I just want to say. But go ahead.
And that is those three that I'm really operating on now, just those three platforms.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Frank, so much. As always, you all, thank you for listening. Please stay tuned for the next episodes and my next interviews, which will be totally awesome because I bring amazing people here with amazing creations and amazing businesses like Frank here. So please stay tuned. Thank you all for listening. Until next time, bye, you guys. Peace. And thank you, Frank. Bye. Bye.